fast mortgage. How about that? Next right, Mo, I need. As soon as I inherit the house, I plan to put it on the market.
After my husband passed away, my son Kelly and his wife Glenda told me that they wanted to talk to us about their inheritance. Even after I told them that they still had to pay the mortgage on the house when it was rebuilt, they still wanted to inherit the family home. You're selling this house. Kelly took over, looking at me in amazement, as if I were an idiot.
Oh, yakin, Stakusuri. Oh, so you inherit this house. The house, you're just gonna keep living in it like an idiot. Talking about your memories, right? We're not gonna waste our money like that. Or pay off the loan in full with the money we get from selling the house. A nice curation.
Glenda continued being condescending to me.
It's just a waste for you, who doesn't even know the property value of this house, to continue living here. Now that it's finally Kelly's turn, please get your useless self out of my house.
Did you start laughing happily?
I'm sick and tired of the thought of my dad being the CEO forever. Even though he's a zero as a business manager. I was getting frustrated, wondering when he's going to hand over the company to me. I'm glad he got out of the way.
I guess God is watching.
Kelly and Glenda were so happy about his father's death that they didn't even feel sad about it. I was getting angry at both of them. If you're going to go that far, then you two can do whatever you want. In the presence of my lawyer, I agree that Kelly will inherit the house and I will inherit the rest of the property. Kelly and his wife nodded their heads in satisfaction.
We will arrange to sell the house as soon as the inheritance is completed. Buisa the session. I'll have you out of here as soon as possible. Plus, restoring now. Turn up facility on the door.
I understand.
They'll get rid of them for you, you know?
I did as Kelly told me and left the house, taking all of my belongings and all of the artwork with me. I'm Sally. My husband Zachary ran a small staffing agency. My husband always told me that the most important thing in running a business is the relationships with people. Zachary, who had been actively interacting with students from other universities since he was a student and has been involved with many people, decided to start a staffing agency. After a few years of dating and marriage, I watched Zachary's life and work from a close distance, and I was influenced by his ideas. I began to cherish the importance of human connections in my life. As the company grew and became more financially sound, Zachary became more involved with young people. Zachary especially enjoys supporting young people who are working hard to achieve their dreams. He would show up at gatherings of aspiring artists and young theater troupes and buy them dinner, and he would help them with funding. The young artists, who had been treated well by Zachary, would bring their paintings and artwork to our home as a thank you. When I invited them to my home, they were thrilled to see their artwork displayed throughout the house. It was a stimulating and enjoyable time for me to spend with these young artists, who loved not only Zachary but also me like a mother. It was exciting and fun for me to spend time with them. However, as soon as Kelly, our only son, grew up and started working in the financial sector, he began to make fun of Zachary's attitude.
Listen, you bought them dinner and lent them money, and in return they gave you this crap. Does not think it's a waste to send the company's hard-earned money on something like this, though?
Zachary had repeatedly told Kelly about the importance of human connections, but his words did not seem to resonate with Kelly.
That's it. I'm chancy, though. Was that actually add to? If you were more efficient, you'd have more money.
Kelly chose Glenda, who has a similar mindset to Kelly as his marriage partner. Harster said it after marrying Glenda. Kelly began to interfere with Zachary's policies more and more.
The two should we put extra money we have to investments? We'd be more profitable if we were doing more business. I want to invest in people.
Glenda expresses her opinion to Zachary without hesitation.
With all due respect, father-in-law, how much of a return have you gotten from that? I don't know if you're an artist or what. It's a little unlikely nowadays that you'd get a return for it, don't you think?
Kelly nodded in agreement with Glenda's words.
Get those customers, Brenda S. Blank. You don't know how to spend money as a business owner. We're in a corporation. What? I'll take the company bigger. I cannot hand over the reins to me and retire.
But Zachary did not agree.
It's Kelly, you don't understand the world yet. You idiot. Even I want you to take over the company eventually, but I'm not giving it to you until you understand the importance of people. Well, sure, one upon hire.
Kelly and Glenda were not happy with Zachary's lack of interest in them. They would talk about Zachary in my presence without a care in the world.
Why Black Dod's so stubborn? He's the one who keeps wasting money and doesn't know anything about running a business.
I know. It's because there are so many businessmen like your father who are stupid that the economy is not developing.
I couldn't help but interject myself. Both of you, your father has grown the company to this level by valuing human relationships. I don't think he is a bad businessman at all. Kelly and Glenda sigh stupidly at my words.
What do you know when you're just being there for father?
That's right. That's reset. Teresa, it's not the way it was when you were both still young. It's all about how to increase funds efficiently. Don't meddle with me when you're so ignorant.
No matter what I said, Kelly and Glenda would not take it up with me. When I told this to Zachary when I got home, he laughed and told me, well, that's okay.
Kelly is still young, and the day will come when he will realize that making money is not everything. Josh, just have to help him out when the time comes.
I wonder if a day will ever come.
Zachary smiles gently, as if to reassure me. I'll live free. Oh, let us look forward to that time.
But Zachary did not live to see that moment. One day, on the way home from work, Zachary was involved in a car accident and died. I was overcome with grief as I frantically prepared for the funeral. My son and his wife were supposed to be there to support me at a time like this. They were so excited about the fact that the company and the inheritance would be theirs that they were unwilling to rely on me. Even after the funeral, there was no end to the number of people who wanted to pay their last respects to Zachary. People from all walks of life came to our house to say their last goodbyes. Kelly and Glenda came to the house just as Zachary's friend, who runs a real estate company, showed up. His friend came to encourage me, and we were making small talk.
And yet, we have lost someone who will be sorely missed. It's hard to find someone who's loved by so many people.
My husband valued social interaction above all else. Because of that, we lived a simple life, no matter how big the company became.
What are you talking about? It is very rare to find a house with such high property value. If we sold it, it would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
I guess they must have heard these words. As soon as Kelly sat down, he told me, Mom, I think it's time we had a talk about the distribution of the estate. Can you take some time this weekend? I was still grieving over the loss of my husband, but I was also thinking that I could not put off the inheritance forever. I called Zachary's attorney, whom he had known since before his death, and we set up a meeting for the weekend.
I want this house.
You want this house? But I was still going to live in this house.
Bunga and I both know that as long as we get this house, we don't have to inherit anything else. I'd sure use the other assets and move to a new place.
I confided to Kelly. The truth is, we still have a mortgage on this house from when we rebuilt it. If you inherit the house, you will be responsible for paying the mortgage.
Basher, Kirst. I care about that. As soon as I inherit the house, I made it put up for sale. Oh, she inherit this house. You're just gonna keep living in it like an idiot, talking about your memories, right? I don't want to make our money like that. To pay off the loan and forward them for with the money we get from selling the house.
Glenda continued being condescending. The two start laughing happily.
I'm sick and tired of the thought of my dad being the CEO forever. Even though he's a zero as a business manager, I was getting frustrated, wondering when he was going to hand over the company to me. As Huban and Mama de Rollo. I'm glad he got out of the way.
Kelly and Glenda were so happy about Zachary's death that they didn't even feel sad about it. I was getting angry at both of them. If you're going to go that far, then you too can do whatever you want. I agreed to Kelly's request that he inherit the family home. In the presence of my lawyer. I put it in writing that Kelly will inherit the house and I will inherit the rest of the property. The distribution of the estate is completed. Kelly and Glenda nodded their heads in satisfaction.
As soon as we get the paperwork done, we'll make arrangements to sell the Thursday and I'll wait to flurry. We call a new attitude out of here as soon as possible.
I understand.
Oh, and don't forget to take all the paintings and sculptures and other junk in the house with you. We'll get rid of them for you, you know.
Of course. I did as Kelly told me and left the house, taking all of my belongings and all of the artwork with me. As soon as I started my new life at the new place, I received a phone call from Kelly. Kelly was very upset and started to ramble on.
What the hell is going on?
I replied calmly.
Because it's not in a good location, and even though it's been rebuilt, it's still old. It can't be helped, can it?
As the real estate agent who came to the house after my father's funeral said it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. More.
I knew Kelly had set his sights on the house after that conversation. I then told Kelly we weren't talking about the value of the house. We were talking about the assets in the house.
The assets in the house? There isn't much cash in the house, was there?
The only thing of value was the artwork in the house?
Artwork.
Some of the artists Zachary used to buy meals for or help fund were now recognized and successful overseas. The paintings given to Zachary would fetch tens of millions of dollars if auctioned today. It is said that the paintings that had been given to Zachary would fetch tens of millions of dollars if auctioned today. He told me about the value of those assets.
Do you think that piece of junk is worth tens of millions of dollars? First, I never heard such a thing.
You threw that chance away yourself, didn't you? It was already officially decided that I would inherit all of the assets except for the family home. You can't change the fact that the house is the only thing you chose to inherit. He probably remembered his statement and the fact that he had officially signed over the property. Kelly yells at me, then that's enough.
Because you're an old-fashioned thinker who can't think rationally, and you're so greedy for money, you're disgusting. I'm cutting you off. Bombs and shelf lumber.
My son's declaration of disownment did not move me at all anymore. Perhaps the bond between parent and child had already been severed in my mind when he laughed at my husband's death.
I may only inherit the house, but I will take over my father's company. I made sure to get this from my father before he died, and I have it in writing.
Zachary probably didn't expect it happen so soon. Zachary, who had wanted his son to take over the business someday, was encouraged by Kelly to write a letter of intent for Kelly to become president of the company to ensure its survival after his death. To meet,
It'd be much better for me to be at the top of the company than my father was a wasteful, brainless businessman. The Mesa's performance should improve dramatically, should serve for a special sake. It's smarter to have profits that will last for years to come than some temporary set.
with that, Kelly hung up the phone. However, only a few months later, Kelly changed his tune. Kelly called me into his office with a weak voice. It had been a long time since my husband had passed away and the office was deserted. What's going on? What are all the employees doing?
Most of the employees have quit.
Quit. How did that happen? After Kelly took over the company, he realized that some of his clients were terminating their contracts because of Zachary's disappearance. In order to cut costs, he hurriedly restructured the company's workforce.
Employees of my father's age are too hard-headed to be of any use to us. So we've made it more efficient and profitable for us to focus on the younger generation. And
Kelly was not convinced by the veteran employees who had supported the company for many years. They said they would not go along with a top management that treated them as incompetent after working on the front lines. It seemed that all the veterans had left the company in droves.
I said I'll fine up to that point, but for some reason the younger workers quit one after another.
To Kelly, who values efficiency over human emotion, it seems that he has no idea why this is happening. I told Kelly, who's puzzled.
It's natural, isn't it? No matter how hard they work, young employees who have seen the older employees getting their jobs cut off because they are too old are also left with no say in the matter. I'm sure they thought that there was no future for this kind of company.
I continued, thinking of each and every one of the employees who had worked so hard when Zachary was alive.
And our employees are people who value human relationships, just like your father. It's only natural that they would leave a company like yours that has a policy of focusing on efficiency and neglecting people.
Kelly clicked his tongue.
I'm done with that. And Danny, from now on, I can start a new company with people who think like me. I'll just call my friends, and I'll have all the good ones in no time.
Saying this, Kelly starts calling his friends. However, as he made the calls, Kelly's face gradually turned pale.
I can't believe that no one's going to help my company.
He told his friends about the situation and invited them to join his company, but all of Kelly's friends turned him down.
You ain't fun, right? You're my friend, so help me out.
Kelly's friends coldly told him that they were not interested in helping him. This was exactly in line with Kelly's thinking, which emphasized efficiency over humanity. There was no way he could rebuild the company by himself. The company soon became difficult to manage, and its survival became a challenge. All that remained for Kelly and Glenda was the company's debt. They could have paid off their debts by working as much as possible, but they were still concerned about efficiency. There must be a more efficient way to pay off the debt. With that said, the two started to invest, but that too failed. Their debts have increased even further. Since then, I've been living a modest life in a new apartment I rented with the little cash I inherited. I know they would be worth a lot if I sold them, but for me, living surrounded by my husband's favorite things makes me happier than money. The artists know how I've always cherished their work. The artists' children have been kind enough to pay attention to me. It was a former investor of my husband's who gave me my current home at a reasonable price. My husband's former employer was successful and acquired the real estate. They also invite me to their performances by actors who have become successful. They are now living a fulfilling life. Even after my husband's death, I'm able to enjoy a rich retirement without feeling lonely. It's thanks to the relationships with people that my husband connected me with. I vow to never forget that feeling in my heart.